Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Decoding a Career in Digital Engineering World, hosted by Bentley Education. Would like to thank Engineers Australia for giving us this opportunity to address all of you today. With that, we can't tell you how excited we are to embark on this journey together that exposes you to a whole new world of opportunities and possibilities with Bentley technologies. And perhaps, as we are all aware, that there has never been an exciting time to be a part of the engineering and construction world than right now, be it augmented reality, virtual reality, robotics, drone technology, digital twins, BIM. As all these technologies are continuing to move forward at an accelerated pace, these innovations are bringing advancements in the industry at, at a faster pace, as well as creating new career opportunities for all of you. And this is exactly what you're going to be covering today. Our speaker, Kuthur Sriram, he is a global education manager at Bentley System who brings over 35 years of vast experience with him. He will share about the importance of digitalization, the new career opportunity that it is creating for you, and eventually how Bentley Systems' new education program can help you develop all the digital skills that you need in the real world to take your next step in the career and start your career. Just a reminder, towards the last 15 minutes, we will open up the chat box where you can post your questions for Shri, which he'll address towards the end of the session. And I think we should get started now. Shri, are you all set to take the floor?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And let me start with sharing the screen. Give me a minute. Tell me when you can see my screen. Coming on.
Yep, it's up there.
Thank you. Thank you all. First, I think, Monica, thank you for a very warm introduction and in fact, it's a very generous introduction. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. And thanks Engineers Australia for the opportunity to speak to you. So the crowd looks like a small crowd. Hopefully there will be more crowd coming on. So one good thing of crowd being small is we can be one-to-one in a conversation going on. So I'm trying to take you all through a journey of about 45 minutes, about 45 to 50 minutes on decoding a career in digital engineering world. Though Bentley is strongly into infrastructure world, I've taken a bold step of saying that in engineering world, which is a common engineering world. So I will possibly own that statement and take you through a journey of what all the various careers that are available in the digital engineering world. Before I go on digital engineering world career opportunity, I thought it is important to talk to you about what is digital engineering. So let me start with a small story. Come along with me. This is a wooden peg, wooden wheel. You must be wondering, what is this got to do with digital engineering or anything to do with engineering at all? Are you know, in a usual one-to-one meeting where I meet people personally, this is a virtual meeting, I asked them saying that the question is that, do you know when was this wheel invented? Okay, now you can't answer this here, so I'll take it on. This was invented in 6th century AD, right? And then the next one is coming on is a suitcase, is a leather suitcase. Are you aware when this was invented? This was invented as early or as late as beginning of 19th century. So when a wheel and a suitcase independently, when they were brought together, a suitcase with a wheel fixed on, it improved the productivity, it improved the mobility. This was invented in 1980s. And you know, now there is no traveler who travels without what we call the wheelie or whatever you call that, right? So how is this relevant? In the engineering world, CAD is the wheel, BIM is a suitcase, and digital twin is a trolley or wheelie. CAD actually was the first ever revolution that happened in the engineering world. In my earlier engineering days, we used to work on paper-based design, protractor-based design. I'm sure all you engineering students now or graduates now would not be working on a paper-based design. You would have started working on computer-aided designing. That brought in a tremendous amount of revolution into the world in the form of mobility, sharing the work, collaboration, version changes. From CAD, we migrated to BIM. CAD actually gave you a two-dimensional, possibly three-dimensional designing as well, but then BIM brought in a tremendous amount of data into it. So a design with a data, but the data is not real-time data, data is a past data, so that's what the BIM is. People keep talking about BIM actually solves all the problem in the construction world, but then in the infrastructure world, but the BIM is the ultimate solution to every infrastructure problem today. why 7 out of 10 projects are not delivered on time. That's the biggest problem today. So 6 out of 10 projects are not delivered on cost. So that's where the digital twin, what they did is they brought in the designing 3D along with the data and made the data into a live data, came the digital twin. So today our journey is about what is digital twin? How does it work? What are the various parts of it working along with you in the construction and then generic engineering industry? And how do I look for a career and what are the tools I need to learn on? That's the journey on. So I will elaborate a little more. As I told you, evolution of digital assets. It could be a building, it could be an aircraft, it could be a space design. Don't worry about it because without computer-aided designing, nothing can be. That's the first step forward, where you do a 2D, 3D drafting, designing. From there, then this is very specific for the engineering industry, infrastructure engineering industry. Then you start getting the data onto that. But the data is not real time along with the 2D, 3D. And what is the digital twin brings across? A live data, connected data. Imagine if you can have a design where you can have live data for you to look at what happened in the past, and you can use that live data to do a simulation to find out about if this bridge it's been taking about 500 vehicles in an hour. In about 5 years time, if it is going to be 500 vehicles, 5,000 vehicles going on, what is going to be the effect of it? That could be done on a digital twin using that. So digital twin actually helps you to do a digital driven organization or a project that goes across. So why am I bringing it across? So every organization today in the world, 7 out of 10 larger organizations are completely digitally driven. They're not going to be working with any of those old model of non-digital based one. So it becomes absolutely compulsory for every one of you to be digitally learned, digitally skilled, and that's where possibly this journey will talk about what phases and what tools and how do we go across. All right. So wait, okay. Everybody talks about digitalization. Why is it important? And particularly in the infrastructure industry, this is for civil engineers and architects. And so I had actually taken a chart of 3 different industries here, right? And this is the infrastructure industry, which I have been working on for very many years. Can you believe it? That has got the lowest. Don't worry about the 2014. Even today, the data is almost the same. The lowest per capita productivity, that is every person, how much he produces, per capita productivity is the lowest in the infrastructure industry and which is the highest in the manufacturing industry. Why is it? Because one, infrastructure industries, the life cycle is very large. When you build a bridge, starting from building until the bridge, possibly a bridge survives your generations and the next generation as well. So that's what problem. But then because of the complexity of the industry, lack of digitalization, per capita productivity is lower. I'll give you some more data to tell you a compelling story why it has to be digitally. Are you aware that infrastructure industry spends the maximum, 13% of the world GDP is spent on, that is the highest in the world. We spend the highest money, but we get the lowest productivity. If I even increase this 1% to 2%, you are saving 1.6 trillion that can come back into it. So the compelling story is not just about why the industry has the digitalization. Compelling story here to all of you that why you should be digitally skilled so that the industry, you would be the most sought after because they are all looking to improve this 1% to 2%. They are all looking to save this 1.6 trillion. So if you are digitally skilled, if you know the digital processes in any part of the industry, don't you think you would be the most sought after resource in the market? That's the journey I'm going to take you through. Okay, digital twins in multiple other industries, what I'm talking about other than infrastructure industry. I'll give you an example here. Red Bull is one of my most favorite teams in the F1 race. Are you aware designers are making up to 1,000 changes per week between races? Every week there is a race. In fact, they make hundreds of changes between lap practice and the main match. That is the level of changes they do because they work on the digital model, not on the physical model. If they want to change the axle or if they want to change the diameter of the tire, they don't work on the physical model, they work on the digital model. So would you like to be an engineer who is going to be working on a digital model on the designing stage, on the operation stage? That's what is the question here. So simulating the race, because you have a digitalization and the data is live, you can even do a digital simulation of saying that what if the speed goes up a little more, what is the level of thermal heat onto that one? What if this wheel spins faster, what is the effect of that? You can do all those simulations. So this industry is doing extremely well. They are able to make cars that are safer, more reliable, and high performing only because of the digital twin, because they do all the designing, all the operation on a digital model, not on a physical model. Let's look at the next industry. This is the space industry, NASA. This one particular spacecraft, to design it, to build it, it cost more than $84 billion. So can you do a trial and error on a physical model? It becomes important that they have a digital prototype to do every change. And absolutely, even before they bend the first sheet metal to make a spacecraft, this spacecraft is digitally designed, digitally planned, digitally analyzed. That is what the digitalization is adopted in the space industry. Now let's look at the aircraft industry. Same, the engine component, the aerodynamics of it, the fluid dynamics of it, everything is simulated using a digital model. Even before the first physical aircraft comes across, there is a digital model available. But in the infrastructure industry, let me go into that. Where are the places digital twins can play a role for you? You could possibly, in an existing built environment, you can collect data to find out how do I optimize energy consumption. Today, everybody is talking about carbon emission, controlling carbon credit, zero emission. A digital model can help you to provide data to find out about how do I change the energy consumption. And then if you're in the road or rail in industry and you want to make a career out of that, you can monitor, track where, and then predict when, rather than react to it. You can proact maintaining the track by doing a digital model to do a simulation of how does the track perform, how does it perform. And then if you look at it, if you are possibly in the wind turbine, you can optimize the turbine performance by a better design, by a better operation. And then if you're in the road, I brought this very specifically now because in Australia, I don't know whether you are all taking this call from Australia, but the Australia, there is going to be an Olympic game in 10 years from now. If you are going to be a transport modeler getting into a career there, they would like you to possibly in the city of Brisbane, they would like to plan what is going to be the traffic increase. How do I do a traffic planning so that the congestion could be avoided? How do I take care the carbon emission is controlled? That is what you can do in a digital model, and that's another career opportunity. So, and because the Olympic is coming, there is going to be a lot of new cities going to be built around, a lot of new townships is going to be built around. You can do a complete utility. You can do the electricity underground planning. You can do the water planning. Talking about all these things, let's see how does and what is the digital twin is all about. As I explained to you before, digital twin is a continuous. Please understand the word continuous is important. A digital representation of a physical asset. I mean, I used to give a very, very crude example. If you have a mobile phone, if you take a picture of yourself and look at that picture is a digital twin of yours. But it is not a continuous one because 10 years down the line, the picture will remain the same because the data is not updated. You would have grayed, or the years would have had an effect on your color, your shape, your hair. But then very close to that is about if you have a picture of yourself currently, that is your digital twin and you are the physical body. But then they have to be continuous to be in operation. That means every time the structure changes or the asset changes, the data has to come along with that. I brought this one because this slide is important to you because the asset has in an infrastructure, any industry, for example, 4 different stages that come across: planning stage, design stage, construction stage. Instead of construction, if you're a manufacturing engineer, look at it production stage and operation stage. How does digital twin make a career in all these places? Before that, let's try and understand what is digital twin.
A digital twin is a digital representation of a physical asset, process, or system, as well as the engineering information that allows us to understand it, model it, and get its performance. Typically, digital twins can be synchronized from multiple sources, including sensors and continuous surveying, to represent its near real-time status. This synchronized data can be used to gain valuable insights to more fully understand the physical asset. Infrastructure digital twins, or I-twins, are emerging now because of a convergence of technologies that enable an immersive and holistic view of infrastructure.
When he says emerging now, and that is where the career opportunity come across. Because the infrastructure industry is now getting digital and iTwin is coming across, if you have an opportunity to learn iTwin, if there is an organization which is willing to give you an opportunity to lay your hand on iTwin tools, processors, learning material, that's what is going to be the end of my conversation.
3D and 4D visualization, reality modeling, mixed reality, and geotechnical engineering. Bentley's goal is to enable a digital twin ecosystem that will improve our understanding and transform the performance of the world's infrastructure.
And I should add that if Bentley, as a commercial organization's goal is to create an ecosystem for the iTwin, Bentley Education is to create an ecosystem of iTwin and digitally skilled workforce, that is you people who are getting into who are going to be the future engineers to go across there. That's going to be the line of that. So we heard about what is digital engineering. I'll show you digital twin. I will show you an example of what could be a digital twin can do. I'm now going more into the infrastructure industry. You could be a logistic manager, digitally planning the logistic that are needed for you need a crane at what time, which day, and you need this vehicle to come and pick it up, what day, which day. This is actually not in a physical, you're sitting in your desk, not in the website, using our digital twin and the other tool to work on to do a complete logistic planning, right? And then plan, if you're building a stadium, and then you know when is the game coming on, you could plan your schedule accordingly. And you could be a training manager where before they do a job, they can do an immersive rehearsal, which is digitally, because they are handling such large beam, how do I place it across? So these are certain processes what we can get into onto that. Okay, now this is a digital twin, which is, I'll stop the video for a minute here to show you. This is actually an actual digital twin in Singapore of a tower called Fraser Tower, which was built by National University of Singapore students. And what do they do? Let's see what happens on here. Let's go on. The floor 9 to 14 belongs to Microsoft. Microsoft has their Southeast Asia's head office there. The digital twin actually gives you a cross section of the building. You can do an analysis of how many people are occupying, what is the energy level, can I have an automatic system where when the occupancy is lesser, can I cut it off? So this is what a digital twin can do for you. And then, I will possibly skip this slide and go to the next one. This is actually a rail track where how a digital twin can help you to physically lay. This is the BIM data of overhead traction taken across and laid onto a specific location, civil location, where on the railway station, if you look at the digital twin going along, including a concrete structure that is coming across. So this is the power of digital twin. And now this is again a digital twin in construction management. Watch the scale at the down. You have July to, actually digital twin lets you to get into a time machine to go forward in your time, come backward in time. So I could be on September 2018 as the scale moves on, and I want to know by March 2019 how much of the building would have come up and what is the level of the construction that would have gone on. That could be done as a simulation here, and that's a career opportunity for you. Or I could be a traffic planning guy where on November 19th to November 2018, there is going to be a construction on the east side of the building. So I have to have a traffic blockade that has to go across. I can plan that across. Or I could be a resource planning, a supply chain guy saying that in October 2018, I would need about a couple of cranes, and then I would need a couple of brakes, whatever you can do actual using a digital model. You can do a digital simulation of a construction process. You can move forward, come back in your time. That's what a digital twin does. So now, so much about digital twin I've talked to you about. Let's get into what are the different phases and what are the career options that are available. Now we are getting into the thick of it now. If you look at it, if you look at any infrastructure industry, you start doing if any of you have built a house, you start planning where the house is, what the site is, what is the cost, what is the contractor, what is the supply chain. So there is a planning stage. From planning stage, then you start designing, right? From a design stage, when you've done a design, you come back and analyze the design, saying that how structurally it is strong, how good it is on the soil, and what is the level of energy consumption. If you're building a road or rail, what is the transport that can go across? What is the electrical need? So you do an analysis, and then you go back to the design, because analysis says the design has to be changed across. So you go up and down. So analysis is a stage, is another stage. Then you've done a good analysis and the design is formed up. Then you get into a construction stage where you start doing construction management. You can do schedule management, cost management, safety management. Then construction is done. Then you hand over the property. It is the operation stage. As I said earlier, infrastructure industry is very unique. One place where 80% of the life of a whole infrastructure stays in the operation stage. Imagine the kind of career that can be done across here. I will talk about what are the possible career opportunities that are available. I've kind of highlighted a few there. If you look at it on each of those stages, what could be a job opportunity that could come across, right? You could, in a planning stage, you could be possibly a site planning guy as a geotech, or you could be a 3D draft person, because you can do a planning on a digital. I will dive into planning furthermore to talk about what tools Bentley brings across and how it can enhance your career. If you're in a design stage, this could be the different jobs that are career that are available. So since I'm going to deal in every one of them, let me run through this slide quickly. If you totally add in a whole life cycle, I could think of 22 different job opportunities or 22 different career opportunities if you add them together. All of them are very strongly digitally placed. So digital education is important. Let me jump into the planning stage now. If you go into the planning stage, okay, this is actually a video of a site. I will hold it here. This is actually a barren land on which there is some building has to be done. So site surveying has to be done. In my days, 20 years ago, people used to walk around the site with a tape in their hand, with a couple of pencils and paper, and then measure it across. But the digital world has completely changed it. Imagine if this whole area is about 25 kilometers to 30 kilometers long, how long it will take for you to measure and do a surveying with all those missions. But then the digital world now, by flying a drone, you capture a picture of the whole surface, whole area there. And then the step two, that take that data and into a product called context capture, which is a reality modeling tool, which is actually offered in our Bentley Education as a learning tool for you. And I will talk about it later. And then you take a whole picture of the whole of the land, and then start working on creating an engineering mesh to find out multiple analysis. It could be a soil analysis. It could be a what is going to be the water flow analysis. It could be a structural analysis. You could do all of those kind of analysis as a planning guy, as a quantity surveying person you could be working on. And then it also you see the level of meshing, what you could do, and then it tells you what is the various levels of unevenness of the ground. So where do I cut? Where do I fill? All of this could be done sitting in your office, sitting in your desktop, and going and capturing a picture as and when you need on, rather than going across and taking tape with your tape in your hand. We talked about a non-built environment, which is a barren land where you did the complete planning activity. But then we also have a complete process of digital planning, what we call urban planners, or city planners or council planners, where you have a built environment and you want to do a retrofit planning, or you want to do multiple other planning. I will show you, this video will give you an idea. This is the city of Philadelphia, where this is actually a reality digital model of a whole city. And we're using Bentley's tool called Open City Planner, which is a part of an education package, where if you could be possibly an architect working on historical building and then just marking those historical buildings so that there are no changes that are done. You want to see, how do I strengthen it? How do I retrofit it? What are the cracks that are happening? And so you could be doing that kind of a planning to work on without changing, because it's a historical building. You could be working on that, or you could be working on tall a building to find out about the level of energy consumption that happens on, you could be planning on, or you could be a revenue planner to find out each zip code or postcode, what is the revenue that is coming on, what is the level of occupancy you could be working on, or, and identify a commercial corridor, you could be doing a traffic planning thing that on a peak hour in a commercial corridor, what is going to be the traffic? So these are the kind of different planning activity you could do using a reality modeling as a tool with a digital twin concept, right? So that's the whole plan. So typically the career what I'm talking about here is about you could be possibly a site planning guy with a geotech, that is soil analysis. You could be a 3D data person you could be working on. So let me go into the design stage now. Design stage is where you've done the planning, then you're getting into a design stage. What are the career job opportunities? We will come to that. I will again show you digitally how a road design is done, where payment for a road with an inclination for mobility vehicle to go across. And this is actually a digital model of a road, existing road. I've run it on, and this is the video of that, the data which is collected, and this is the digital model. And believe it, this measurement, what he is trying to do on the slope, he is not at the side. He can be working on his desktop in his office, working on after taking a picture. And the measurement is so accurate for the inclination with our tool called Orbit, which is also a part of a education tool, education package. Orbit is actually a tool which helps you to do payment design, road payments, and then airport runway design, those kind of things. So how now using the tool, he has actually identified what is the level of inclination, does it pass the government needed statute requirement, and then fill up the data there automatically, and then it tells you, yes, it is an ADA compliant, right? And most of you people who are taking a call from Melbourne, in Melbourne we had many accidents of where the clearance of the bridge has always been a question. The truck not able to go under the bridge, and happens on here a bridge design. This is again a digital model using an architect of what is going to be the clearance, and can I plan the road construction accordingly. So look at the model here. This is the actual city video model of that, and this is the digital model using Orbit product, where we are using a digital model to sitting at the tabletop again, measuring what is the road length, and then accurately measuring what is the clearance between the bridge and the road. Do I have to make a slope in the road and plan it accordingly and design it accordingly? So if you are going to be a design engineer on the road, imagine these tools, the level of advantage these tools can give it to you, and how efficient, how productive you can be. If you have to go in person and measure it, imagine the amount of money you'll spend on, time you'll spend on. Here, it clearly up to a millimeter clearly tells you here with the lowest clearance, what is the lowest clearance it tells you. So I just taken two cases to show you how a design could be, digital design or digital twin design can help you out. So I'll go into the next one. So this is actually where typically in any engineer, where when you do a design, there are multiple versions of design done on. So using a digital prototype or a digital model, you compare between one version of the design and second version of the design and find out what is the change management. So this actually gives you an idea of saying that, okay, on version 8, what the width was, it will come across, width was 800 millimeter, but version 12, 1200 millimeter. So change control is very, very possible in this, but I will also go into the next one where if you look at it, this is actually a heat map of a building using a digital where you're doing a simulation on a design plane, saying that if I have the roof clearance so much, and if I have this kind of insulating material, what is going to be the heat map of when so much of occupancy is available? This could be done digitally, and this could be possibly energy sustenance or a thermal engineer's job role that could be done across Insight. So I will run through slightly quickly because these are a little more data into that. So if you look at the design, so what we talked about, you could be possibly a career opportunity that are available there. You could, there is a 3D design engineer option. It could be a road design, it could be a rail design, it could be a bridge design, it could be a building design. So as a design engineer, there are opportunities available. You could be an architect in designing in the form of, you could be on a building look, it could be on a structural, it could be on the heat map, it could be on the thermal map, you could be a naval architect, you could be designing a hull, you could be designing a floating vessel, or you could be designing an offshore platform. So using a digital model, and then you could be a building information manager, BIM manager, because from a design data, how you do on, so there is an opportunity for a BIM manager, or if you are into the water, you could be a hydrologist, where you could plan a whole network of water supply. It could be fresh water, it could be recycled water. You could be an electrical engineer for a building to find out, electrical design, and then you could be an MEP engineer. Imagine using a digital twin, digital tool. These are the various career opportunities that are available there, right? Now, let me go into the analysis part of it, where this is where the strongest opportunities that are available in digital, using digital engineering, because when you have a real-time data, you can take a very well-informed decision, because data is what is information. Information is intelligent to you. So when you talk about a digitalization and digital twin with a real-time data, that allows you to do a multiple level of simulation. When I show you, you will be able to understand. Now, this is actually a train station, this is an actual use case with Bentley in London, a Bond Street train station, where this is a digital model of the train station, and as a traffic modeler or pedestrian traffic modeler, a model engineer, someone is able to actually simulate and find out what is going to be the level of congestion at every time the train comes on. This is actual data collected from multiple closed circuit TVs, and then using the data and multiple other data sources, one is able to simulate clearly what is going to be the traffic in 2031 in Bond Street Station. If you look at it, what is going to be the Bond Street Station evening rush hour in 2031, you're able to plan it. So you could go back, see here, you could go back and tell the design engineer, saying that if you possibly increase the number of boom gates here, number of gates here, there could be more people flowing in, so the congestion could come down. Or you could tell the operation engineer, saying that in non-peak time, you can close a couple of these gates so that you save power, you save energy. So see the level of simulation effect that could be done on a Bond Street station to find out about what is going to be the pedestrian traffic. This tool, which helps you to do this whole planning, is available as a part of a Bentley education tool for you to become an expert into that. I will take you to the next one. This is actually trying to find out when there is a match in a stadium, how long it takes for those spectators to clear the stadium out. This could be used as, again, if I were a structural engineer, I would possibly use this data to find out how many footprints I get on this piece of concrete, and when does it wear out, and when do I proactively repair it. I could do that, right? Or if I'm going to be a climate engineer, I will find out in winter what is going to be the wind velocity to create a comfort to the pedestrian. So I could change the design accordingly. But as simple as that, if I'm going to be a pedestrian traffic planner, I can find out how long it takes for people to clear across, particularly in pandemic days or in an emergency case. How do I do? This is again a tool which is available within Bentley Education, where you can do this kind of simulation, and then using multiple technology to work onto that. So we talked about analysis, where what are the careers that a digital analysis helps you? You could be a structural engineer using this digital tool, not working on the physical structure. I have got at least about half a dozen universities which are working on concrete bridges to clearly do a digital model to find out if this is the level of traffic it is going on, and the traffic is increasing every year by 10%, what is the load bearing onto the bridge, and when do I have to predictively repair the bridge? That is what a structural engineer can do using a digital twin for analysis. If you are a geotechnical engineer, if you know there is so much of water is flowing under a bridge so what is the level of erosion that happens on? Or you could simulate, I have a video on that, you can simulate what is going to be the rainfall and the flooding effect and water stagnation that could be done. If you are a transport modeling engineer, I showed you about how transport planning on the Bond Street can be done. I mean, today we are working with Victoria, in Australia, we are working with Victorian government on the level crossing removal, where when you close the traffic for a specific level crossing removal, What is the level of congestion? How do I plan the traffic? That opens up a whole venue of new opportunity, job opportunities available. Hydro network design. There are people who are working on using a digital twin to find out where is the leakage in the pipe and how do I fix the leakage without even digging the earth at all. That's another job opportunity is available. You could be a generic simulation engineer across all this industry. If you know the simulation tool, what we have, you could be working on hydro, you could be working on transport, you could be a geotechnical man, or you could be a sustenance analyst in the sense of finding out about how long structurally the building will sustain, how long the power consumption, how do I have a sustenance of the power consumption. So, and what is going to be the traffic in a specific place, how do I maintain the operation so that sustenance comes across. These are the various job opportunities, career opportunities that comes in analysis part of it. Let me go into the construction part of it. Construction part is where you've done the analysis and you start building it. Either you manufacture it or build it. So let me give you a picture of this. This is actually construction planning using a product called Synchro, which is again a brand leader in the market, which is again a part of Bentley Education tool where you have an opportunity to learn it. Synchro actually helps you to plan your construction schedule. It plans your supply chain management, safety management within the site. I'm running this quickly because if you look at it on the top right corner, there is a clock running on. So this is actually simulating to find out, according to my construction planning, these are the parts going to be constructed on these days. So if you are a logistic planner or a supply chain planner, you can clearly say, I need a heavy lifting equipment or concrete laying equipment only between these days and that day, and you can plan it accordingly because you know this tool. Imagine you're part of an organization like Arup or WSP, and then you know this tool, and then you can plan it across. So this is typically helping you out to do a simulation of moving forward, as I said, going in a time mission, moving forward and planning your scheduling, planning your supply chain, planning your resources, and you can even possibly, if there is going to be a crane coming here, you could be a safety manager to say, I may have to block all those part of it. There could be no traffic, no people coming in, occupational health and safety. That could be another opportunity. Or you could be just a training engineer to show people about how the whole work goes on and what is your rules and regulations onto that, right? So that's another, I'm going to run a video here.
Here at Pennsylvania Chemicals, we have the opportunity to be the plant of the future.
The more data we have, the smarter we have to get about managing it.
Everything at a site is located by an equipment tag. FindAll uses that as the basis to connect all the different databases. We have complete accountability over 3 million documents and equipment tags on this site.
Now I can go to the tag number for my equipment and immediately find exactly what I'm looking for.
Digital twins use drones to take construction project snapshots on weekly basis, and from these images we create accurate 3D models of the.
This is an interesting one. This is actually done in a couple of sites in Victoria now, where they want to see the progress of the construction. Because of pandemic, people cannot go to the site. That actually opens up a lot of new job opportunities where people who know a digital tool to manage this, people who know to take data out of that, see how he is working on a digital data, they have to work on so completely. So construction, what I showed you, these are the kind of job opportunities where you could be a site operation manager. Using a digital model, you would know in the site, on the 7th day from now, I'm going to have a crane coming in. 14th day from now, I'm going to have a digging equipment coming in. 17th day, it's going to be electrical work. You could, site operation manager, if you're a digital site safety manager. I talked to you about occupational health and safety. You could be a construction manager doing a schedule planning, construction manager who is doing supply chain planning, or you could be a construction cost manager, or as I said, very simple site training manager and logistic manager. These are some opportunities available in construction. Now we're getting into the longest part of the life cycle, which is the operation, where people actually maintain and operate infrastructure, be it a rail, a road, or a building, because that has a very long life. Let's look at what are the different avenues that are available in operation. This is again a real-time story where look at multiple opportunities you can have if you know a digital tool and learn more from our tool. This is actually a bridge in USA, Minnesota, where earlier days before digitalization, people wanted to inspect where are the cracks. They used to actually hang in a rope and then go down and check it on. And let me not take the take the heat out of the video. Have a look at that video now.
I was reading through a magazine and saw a picture that was kind of grainy, black and white, and showed several men, bridge inspectors, on ropes hung over the side of a structure. So that picture had been taken in 2013. It looked like it was from the 1960s. We've got to be able to do better.
There are currently over 20,000 bridges in the state of Minnesota. It's important to keep on with the inspections so that we can properly maintain them over the course of their life and find out when the need is to replace them.
We started partnering with Bentley because both of us really wanted to use technology to improve the inspection workflow.
Most of those engineers don't go out in the field much, so it's hard to relay through close-up pictures and trying to explain to them what I'm seeing.
We came to look at HoloLens to get an understanding of what's actually happening in the field without having to be there.
The HoloLens and the Azure remote rendering was a really unique way to sort of bring the bridge into the office to do the inspection.
Our company has been very, very involved in the idea of digital twins, of having computer models that replicate what's physically out there in the field.
These images can get right down to the cracks themselves. We can measure the width of them, not just the length. They're that detailed.
We have all this information at our fingertips that we never had before.
If we could reduce the overall expense by 10%, that could be a humongous win. Now, we're talking potentially several times that in overall savings. The graphical processing, the streaming has to be spot on with the Microsoft HoloLens 2 and the Azure remote rendering capabilities. We're able to see accurately, truly geometrically, the impact of changes over time. Everybody says, oh, this is like science fiction, but it's real.
I like that word. It's like science fiction. So not alone it gives you a career opportunity, it also gives you a career opportunity which is almost like a science fiction. You're not going to be sitting in a mundane office and then working on a piece of paper. There are 4 or 5 points in that I want to highlight onto that. It's about 1. In New South Wales, there are more than 7,000 bridges. No. Now, government actually has gone ahead to say remote inspection is the way to look at these bridges. So that means imagine the number of job and career opportunities that is going to happen on where starting from data capture, drone pilot to a structural engineer who can actually bring across. If you notice that video well, the whole bridge is actually digitally brought down to the working table of an office. They're not going to the site. So imagine the kind of career opportunity that can give you. I think I'll go closer to your home again. This is, you remember we talked about road and pavement. Again, I'm coming back to the orbit where if you want to see how the road rutting, because over a period of time, the load of the vehicle actually spoil, the load of multiple vehicles traveling on creates a bit of a damage to the road, what we call rutting. This could be digitally done using a photograph. I'll show you here. You will get to see that where you run that vehicle there, and then with the digital tool, an orbit tool, you would be able to precisely, exactly find out which location the rutting is the highest, because these are the maps which clearly show you where the rutting is the highest. And they are geo-positioned in such a way that you can go up to half a meter closer to that place to find out where the rutting is, and you can work on. Here, imagine if you are comfortable using an orbit tool and the kind of career opportunities and productivity what we can bring across, right? And then this is actually a big story in Telstra. This is actually a Telstra tower which is taken across. Today, there are tens of thousands of these telecom towers that are available that are all over Australia. And we have to check the level of, the rusting in that, the level of damage into that. Nowadays, people do not climb up this tower. They only take a picture of it. This is actually using a digital model, using a drone picture. In 2019, this is the rutting, this is the level of damage that has happened on. But then, if you look at the 2018, see picture, see the level of, so you are able to see the progressively rusting that has happened on. So if you are an operation manager, maintenance manager, you would exactly be able to plan when do I change that, or when do I paint it, or when do I repair it, whatever it is that you could be doing across, right? So, and this is a very interesting video. This is not about maintenance. This is about retrofitting in an existing built environment where you are adding a train station or a bus shelter now. Have a look at this.
Tom, a bus shelter must be built at Brunstaller Street 71 in Ghent.
Let me check it out.
This is again an operation part.
Yes, indeed, that is correct.
Using a
According to
mobile
the planner,
phone.
a bus shelter must come on that side right before the zebra crossing.
Are there any possible obstacles that we have to keep in mind at this location? For example, to let a tow truck pass. And what's the height of those streetlights over there?
And they are not at the site to measure.
That is going to be okay. The tow truck will be able to
pass.
pass underneath properly. But I see that on that side, the sidewalk is reasonably narrow. There is also a parking lane, but I'm afraid that we still have to take a small piece of the road. Let me check the width of the road over there.
See, all of them done on a
Just as we thought.
on a
I
handheld
think it would be
device.
best to provide a temporary detour anyway, in order not to bother traffic too much during rush hour.
But what about the traffic flow in the surrounding streets here?
I think if we redirect the traffic
Can you see
here,
that they're
for the
sitting in
time
their office,
being,
they're
we
working?
can avoid a lot
Not at
of
the
traffic
site.
jams.
Getting a clear
So in this job as an operation manager or, operation person in that, he was able to actually find out whether vehicles can come in, he can plan the logistic, he was able to measure the length of it and then find out whether bus shelter will fit in, he can plan the traffic, he can plan the production, he can find out which is the danger area. So imagine all of this could be done. If you have a skill to do that, the level of job opportunities that come across. This is an interesting one for hydrologists. This is again a real-time story. This is the city of Paris where we are able to simulate how the flooding will happen. How the flooding will happen according to the rainfall. Let's go. Now look at this. If you are able to plan, you use our tool, what we call, Bentley's water gem tool, where you can actually do a flood modeling and then plan where the water outlets are, where the manholes are, and it will clearly tell you, simulate and find out according to the different level of rainfall. If you have the data, it clearly tells you there's one manhole there that is not good enough. If you don't increase the number of manhole, this is what is going to be the effect of flooding. Again, a digital model, digital twin. This is by itself is a career opportunity to do any new construction site. If you're doing a construction, if there is going to be rainfall, what is going to be the site effect on the construction site, or any built environment, what is going to be the flood effect? Imagine these tools, again, the whole set of hydrology tools are available within Bentley's education tool. So that's about construction, operation, where there are more than 7 different opportunities that are available, job career opportunities that are available. You could be an operation training. I'll come here, facility engineer. You could be a maintenance manager. You saw them on the tower. It could be not tower, it could be bridge, it could be rail, it could be building, it could be anything. It could be an operation manager. You saw the 2 of them working on saying that I need to bring a bus shelter. So it could be an operation manager or in the operation team. You saw in the bridge, the remote inspection engineer. You saw the retrofit engineer where they built, again, a bus shelter being brought across. Or you could be in the training. These are the different career opportunities that are available. So we kind of touched on 22 different career opportunities going digital, but why should you depend on Bentley on that? So what is that so unique about Bentley? Here we go.
Around the world, engineers and architects, constructors and owner-operators are using Bentley's software solutions to design, build and operate the infrastructure.
Look at the different
that
industries,
sustains our
rail,
economy
road,
and our
offshore,
environment.
wind.
Together, we are
Building.
advancing infrastructure.
Bentley software has helped us deliver a successful Crossrail. Together with Bentley, Crossrail have created the Information Academy. It's about creating an environment for people to work together really much more efficiently and effectively than they've ever done before.
It is the front of house for our Emirates. So we wanted to do something spectacular,
if
something
you have a career to
iconic,
build an airport
something
like what
everybody will remember.
Abu Dhabi Airport is.
We chose Bentley. There are not many competitors who could do a project on this scale.
We wanted to use technology, digital technology, to do it in the best possible way.
This is the harbor.
For this, we use Bentley software.
We're very proud of the association with
This is an oil industry.
It's allowed us to be a leader in the industry.
And more important is the Bentley management has worked with us to help us feel that comfort to work with Bentley. And that is what is driving us.
Process industry, building industry. Flood simulation, we saw that. Traffic simulation.
Bentley, advancing infrastructure.
7 out of 10 leading organizations in the world, or 89 out of the top 100 Fortune 100 companies, use Bentley tools in some stage or other. So one, you learning digital. Two, if you learn Bentley tool, that enhances your chance of winning a job opportunity. Let me also give you another story of why it is. There is not one single software company which takes care of either designing or analysis or building, operating of, look at a whole city, whatever the infrastructure that is needed, Bentley has it. If you're talking about cities, all the building, yes. If you're talking about water supply to that, water, wastewater, yes. If you're talking about road to get to that city, yes. If you're talking about building, yes. If you're talking about power, gas, yes, right? If you need to travel there by road, rail, yes, right? So, and then if you're talking about campuses, yes. So I'm not even going into the process plant and then offshore structure. So is it not wise enough to invest your time on learning on Bentley tool, because it gives you an opportunity to look at any possible infrastructure that works on, and then all of them digitally as well to work across. I thought there is not one single company which provides such a breadth and depth of the product on, and all of this come to you. How do I start my first step? You want to know, you saw about what the digital engineering, digital twin is, what are the career opportunities, and you also talk about how most of the leading companies in the world are using Bentley tool, and then you saw the length and breadth of it. So what should be my first step towards building a career? Here we go.
This is infrastructure. And this. But so is this. It's here. It's way out there. It's everywhere. And it's essential. Definitely essential. Infrastructure works hard, and so do the millions of people who make it work. Not sitting in an office all day plugging away on a spreadsheet until your eyes pop out of your head hard. No, these jobs are different. These jobs use your whole brain. Jobs that take you to the far reaches of the world. Jobs that change the world. But how do you get in on this? So glad you asked. We're Bentley Systems, the infrastructure engineering software company. Our software builds all that stuff. Were you expecting a protractor? Hang on to that. This is Bentley Education. It's an online platform built to connect you to the infrastructure world. It's got everything you need to begin a career in infrastructure and the tools to make it happen. Here's a breakdown. Complete access to the software that the pros use. A network of industry professionals, plus bonus resources, news, travel opportunities. You guessed it, all at no cost. Bentley Education is giving you the tools and hands-on training to help you navigate the real world and make your mark in it. So click the link below, give us some quick info, and prove you're not a robot. In just a few clicks, your journey begins. Join us and build yourself a new world.
4 taglines, according to you, 4 tag words in the whole process is about. All this infrastructure job is to change the world, and it take you places. That one tag word. And how do I get there? Is about Bentley Education, and it gives you a tool to learn. It gives you a learning process, in the sense learning materials that are available. It connects you to the industry to find out, am I learning the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? All of them, the biggest tagline, at no cost at all. So the first step towards career in digital engineering, what you need to do is visit this page. Visit this page. It's like when you want to have social contact, you get into Facebook. When you want to have professional contact, you get into LinkedIn. When you want to be an engineer, digital engineer, the first page you need to visit is education.bentley.com. Why am I saying that? What is so good about it? Let me see. We have another 4 or 5 minutes, right? So give me that 4 or 5 minutes. So I am trying to log into that site now. Hopefully my bandwidth. See, this is the Bentley Education Portal. The mission of Bentley Education, which is for Bentley Engineering. Bentley System is it's a $700 million sized company. What they wanted to do is that give it back to the learning community in such a way that are 3 objectives that about give them digital knowledge so that they can look at a career 10 years from now, and give them a lot of learning opportunities so that they will keep updating their skill, and give them all the tool to learn and no cost at all, nothing at all. So that's what the whole concept is about. If you go into the site, you will see more than 60 plus any number of whatever I showed you there. If you look at the product line here, yeah, okay, you can, sorry, yeah. Look at the number of product line that goes into that. You saw a lot of video there. I will move my slide a little more. Sorry. It could be a structural engineer. You could be a structural analyst. You could be a civil designer. You could be a hydrologist or hydrology doing. You could be doing a building design. On all of them, you want to create a reality model. What you saw, the drones flying, and then creating a digital model of that. And then you've done all the design, structural analysis, everything. You want to do a construction planning, construction management, construction delivery. That's it. Then you want to do, at the surveying stage, mapping and surveying. Then if you're going to be in the process industry, you want to do a plant design. I talked about soil and earth and geotechnical information. They're very specifically focused on, rather than globally, bridge analysis very specifically. And then I talked about energy infrastructure. It could be, energy sustenance, energy infrastructure. Then all of them are available to you. There are more than 64 products of this. And all these products are available to you at just a click onto your laptop. These are the products which are used by, you saw those people who were talking about Abu Dhabi Airport, Cross River Rail, all of them are using this tool, and this is what a commercial market uses. That product is available. Okay, we have given you a tool, but if I give you a car and then don't tell you how to drive it across, if I don't give you a manual, what happens on? So that's where the GET training comes onto you. This is actually a whole set of training. I will take you to the bottom of the page on the training. So if you look at it, this is what my commercial customers, tens of thousands of them, use a product called LearnServer, where on the pandemic days, we are not able to go into their office to train them on. So we have created all those training material on a video form, on on-demand learning, screen-by-screen learning, menu-by-menu learning. All of them are available on the LearnServer for multiple products that are available, which my commercial customer use. You as a student have an access. You have the tool. Get into the LearnServer and find out how do I use the tool. Get into the LearnServer, find out how the other organizations are using. There are webinars that are doing that, all those things. So you have a training available, right? Then you go into Get Connected. You go get connected. Then you are going to be connected to the global student community, where your analysis of a bridge, how it is done in US and what do they look at, and that could be handy to you to either bring it across to Australia, or maybe you find that, oh, that's the job I'm interested in. I want to look at Europe market. So you get connected to the community friend. Then we also don't want to be just bone dry learning all the time. There are engineering fundamentals where there are fun things and people talk about what they did as a fun. So that's available to you. And all these products are available to you throughout your learning career. And we also get a support in this product in the form of the product is not working, or am I doing the design right? Is there a better practice to do that across? All of them are available, which is offered to a commercial customer is available. So what are we waiting for? Everything what you need is completely available to you now. The tool is available, learning is available, community is available at no cost at all. And the digital world is waiting for you to go in there. And that's my journey, that's my talk, and that's my journey. I hope I made sense. This is Sri here. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, Thank you so much for this insightful presentation, Shri. Well, I'm sure everyone here is very excited to log on to Education Portal and register themselves. Just a reminder, the chat box is now enabled. If you have any questions for Shri, you can post it here. Or Shri had also shared his email ID. You can later reach out to him with your questions or doubts that you have. What we can do is we can wait for another 2 minutes. Otherwise, I will paste your email ID as well as the Education Portal link in the chat box so everyone can go. Yep, so I've posted the Education Portal link as well as your email ID in the chat box. And I think with that, we can conclude our today's webinar, then, Shri.
Thank you all for your time. Appreciate that. And thanks, Monica, for putting it together.
Thank you.
And a huge thanks to Engineering Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience listening.